Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video, I'd like to discuss a consequence of Brexit that's not only going to get mainly Brexiteers hopping mad, but something that could add a lot of pressure to the already tricky situation of managing Northern Irish politics post-Brexit. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So I'm essentially going to be discussing tariffs, specifically steel tariffs, but the same sort of issue applies potentially for most goods. But it's worth mentioning, first of all, that with the DUP still refusing to allow Stormont to do any work, we're getting close to the time when the Northern Ireland Secretary in Westminster could be asked to consider triggering a new poll. Although this will bring the failure of the current system into sharp focus, it's not immediately clear how it's going to help. Maybe there's a possibility that people would decide the DUP's position at a time of crisis is unhelpful. Their opponents will certainly point to the fact they lied about their 5-point plan during the election campaign earlier this year. Can't implement a 5-point plan without attending the Legislative Assembly, can you? But let's say this happens. Let's say people realise that the DUP are very far removed from the concerns of even their usual supporters, and the Alliance Party blasts into second place. The way Stormont works, I don't think it really matters. The Assembly still has to have the largest Republican and Unionist party present to function. A strong argument to scrap this rule, but the Tories won't. They seem to find the DUP's antics useful, and those antics may well find a new outlet very soon. See, although Boris Johnson talked about tariff-free deals a lot, the fact is we don't have any. And I mean, we don't have any. We don't have a tariff-free deal with the EU, with Japan, with Australia, or with anyone that we've signed a post-Brexit trade deal with. And because Northern Ireland was cut a deal that allowed it to access the single market for goods, it actually means that tariffs can technically apply on goods moving between Britain and Northern Ireland. Now, there are trade barriers which exist inside other countries, because Brexit, is worth mentioning this, Brexiteers often talk about how ridiculous it is to have a trade border inside the UK, as if it's unique around the world, as if this is a mad idea. I mean, it is a mad idea, because Brexit is a mad idea. But there are other countries that also have internal trade borders. The United States, for example. Many Brexiteers aspire to the US model. They've got trade borders inside their own country. It's really a bit of a confederacy. So it's a nonsense to complain that you don't see this anywhere else. You do. The country with the largest economy in the world has them, but others do as well. But still, anything that reminds the Brexiteers about the trade barrier that they put inside their own country to further their financial or political ends seems to make them very upset. And another little reminder is on the horizon. I say a little reminder, it's going to be a big one. Steel companies have just been told by HMRC that EU quotas for imports have been exhausted. That means that tariffs are going to apply to steel exported from Britain to Northern Ireland. The usual Brexit crowd are not going to be happy about that when they find out. The fact that I haven't seen a hissy fit on social media means that the same one Brexiteer yesterday had the nerve to tell me to do my research. So these Brexiteers who have the nerve to tell me to do my research, they obviously don't even know about this yet. Maybe they're waiting for the Daily Express to cotton on and report it to them. But here's where the political heat gets turned up quite a lot. The practical outcome of this is that EU steel producers can export to Northern Ireland tariff-free. Not a problem. Single market. No tariffs in the single market. But British steel producers will have tariffs imposed on their exports to Northern Ireland, a part of the same UK. Can you imagine how the pro-Brexit commentators are going to react to this when they find out? And this isn't just a political hot potato. It's a major problem for steel producers in Britain, already feeling the pinch. In fact, it's not really that long ago that they were breathing a sigh of relief that the United States had finally removed the punitive tariffs that the orange one placed on our steel. Now we find tariffs when selling to people inside our own country. And 25%, this is not peanuts. The problem is that we're sharing quotas with other countries. It's a lot like all of our trade deals, really. We don't actually have our own quotas with various post-Brexit trade deals that we have. But as long as the quotas aren't used up, you get away with it because no one really finds out. It's like we haven't got any quotas if they don't get used up. But on this occasion, it has been used up, and it's been used up unexpectedly. And it means tariffs for what many think of as an internal domestic trade. It might be a bit embarrassing if we suddenly couldn't export some things to Japan. But what it means is you can't export to somewhere else in the UK. That's when it becomes politically spicy. The problem is that the government keep talking about the UK internal market or the UK single market. There's no such thing. There's objectively no such thing. There's the British internal market and there is Northern Ireland. We are part of the same market for services, but not for goods. In order to preserve the Good Friday Agreement, the Northern Ireland Protocol allowed Northern Ireland to retain access to the single market for goods. Only way to make it work if the rest of the UK was to diverge. The Good Friday Agreement was built on the common EU membership that the UK and Ireland shared. This is why people warned about the risks to Northern Ireland if we left the EU. Concerns that were ignored. And what's most sickening is the very people who have never shown any regard for the Good Friday Agreement, the DUP and several of the currently most senior Tory MPs. I will mention that a lot of Conservatives are in favour of it, but some of the ones in charge now were not. They've now got the nerve to say that the protocol is threatening that agreement. The protocol exists purely to preserve the agreement. That is its function. The government sold it to the British public on that basis. They won the 2019 general election on that basis. And consider the wider political picture here. The DUP will rant about this. Maybe they have already started. I've not seen anything yet, but maybe some with a closer eye on Northern Irish politics has seen some rumblings that I haven't. But it will blow. No way they'll ignore this. Oh, this is their chance. The DUP will use it to push the Westminster government to push the Northern Ireland Protocol bill through Parliament as a matter of urgency. They'll say this is a problem now. This isn't just a problem we're foreseeing for the future. This is happening now. They will argue that action is needed now. Now, the action they want is not to agree a genuinely tariff-free deal with the EU, rejoining the single market. No. The action they want is the protocol scrapping. Liz Truss is likely to be Prime Minister when this blows up. She's greased her path to number 10 with the support of Tory MPs who also want the hardest possible Brexit, no deals with the EU of any kind. She has claimed that she's serious about using the bill when it becomes law. It is technically her bill, and technically she made it a harder bill than Boris Johnson wanted to. But the EU have said, if used, it risks the complete dissolution of the Trade and Cooperation Agreement. That would knacker our economy even in relatively good times. But by the time this can happen, we'll be in recession already. The inevitable consequences will be an even deeper recession, even greater shortages, even higher prices. The economy is already at serious risk because we put clowns in charge. This outcome doesn't bear thinking about. I do wonder if Liz Truss, I've mentioned this before, if Liz Truss or some of her advisors are banking on the idea that it would also be an ill wind that blows the EU no good and they ultimately wouldn't threaten the Trade and Cooperation Agreement. But they'd have no choice. They'd have no choice at all. The political pressure on Truss will be enormous. So there's going to be a distressing amount of political friction over the final third of this year and into the new year. The cost of energy crisis, industrial action against slave wages, the meltdown of the NHS, potential crunch time in the war with Russia, for which we need Europe to be united, a winter rise of COVID cases, and Northern Ireland politics coming under even more pressure because of people who just want to play with people's lives. And the Tory government are not at all equipped to deal with a single one of these issues. Not in terms of their ideology, not in terms of their competence. Oh, and for good measure, Liz Truss has just said that she thinks maybe the French government are our enemy. Literally, the word used in a question to her, are France our enemy? Truss said she wasn't sure. That bodes well for our future diplomatic efforts, doesn't it? But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. If you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.